Today we're going to look at the worst graveyard hate cards in Magic the Gathering. This is going to be a really weird show. I'm going to start off with Emergency Powers. It is a 7-mana instant. Each player shuffles their hand and graveyard, alright, their graveyard into their library, and then draws 7 cards. Then you exile Emergency Powers. Also, addendum, if you cast this spell during your main phase, you may put a permanent card with converted mana cost 7 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. Wipe out their graveyard. Also, the Time Twister for everybody. I guess it's just a big Time Twister, isn't this? Emergency Time Twister. And get something for free for your 7 mana. Alright, next up, let's take a look at New York City Street Poet says Night Soil from Fallen Empires. That has been reprinted. Oh, is this the original? Ugh, it's hard to read. Okay, we have a green enchantment. Pay 1. Exile 2 creature cards from a single graveyard. This is actually hard to pull off. If there's no 2 creatures, you don't get to target anything. Put a 1/1 green sapling creature token onto the battlefield. That's Commander playable. That's Commander playable. I would never play it anywhere else other than Commander. Also, I hope everyone has creatures to die. Okay, the Jaded with the Mudhole. What we got with Mudhole? For 3 mana instant, target player removes all land cards in their graveyard from the game. Just the land cards. This is like specifically hate for Life from the Loam. What else? Maybe Life from the Loam. Maybe some sort of lands deck. How else can you use lands from the graveyard? I don't know. I think it's just maybe Seismic Assault decks that need to have lands in the graveyard to use Life from the Loam. It'd be the most awkward sideboard card to bring in. I'm sorry, I have a response. I'm gonna Mudhole you. That's right, all your lands are gone. Okay, next up, let's take, what did this even do back in the Odyssey block? Probably remove Threshold from some decks. Some decks? Probably, maybe. I was around there. I don't remember anyone playing Mudhole versus me. Okay, next up we've got Ecos with Ashes of the Abhorrent. Is too narrow. It's a 2-mana enchantment. Players can't cast spells from graveyards or activated abilities of cards in graveyards. Whenever a creature dies, you gain 1 life. Honestly, this is pretty good. You can't cast spell. I mean, it's like a Grafdigger's Cage. It's white Grafdigger's Cage. If you don't have enough Grafdigger's Cages in your deck, you're playing white, you go play Ashes of the Abhorrent. Because I think that's basically what all this is. David Sampson, you'd think Night Soil was EDH playable, but I had a sapling deck, played it turn 2, couldn't get 1 hit the whole game. Oh god, that is too bad. The Ashes of the Aberrant, not nearly as good as it looks. I wouldn't be. Look, let's get back to Night Soil. I wouldn't play this on turn 2. There's like nothing to eat with this card. This is like the last thing you play. On turn 2, you want to start pumping out them saplings. Get them saplings on the battlefield. Okay, Matt McCloskey with Ashiok. Nightmare Weaver. For final ability that you will never get to use. Hey, everything has been used before by Ashiok. I've been beaten by Ashiok many times. We have a 3 mana, 3 loyalty Ashiok Planeswalker. +2, exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library. -X. Put a creature card with converted mana cost X, exiled with Ashiok onto the battlefield under your control. The creature is a nightmare in addition to its other types. And then -10, get this, exile all cards from all opponents' hands and graveyards. We've done it. I have exiled the graveyard, said Ashiok. It has been done. Of course, when you get close to like -10, you're gonna dump your hand as fast as possible. Dump that hand faster than you dump a load. I'm sorry, I thought I was going somewhere with this, but it ended up going nowhere, so I bailed out. Okay, next up. Let's go. Oh, we have a super chat from Alphaner. Thank you so much for your super chat. Relic of Progenitus. That is a good one! This is worst. This is like this, I don't know if this is commander playable, but this is completely competitive playable. In fact, it's like $5 for an uncommon. Look at this. I'll show you how good this card is. This card is an uncommon, and it still holds the weight of $5, despite how many times it has been reprinted. It's been reprinted a billion times. It's been common, too. It has a common slot, so... Anyway, too good. So we're going to donate your super chat. Thank you very much, Alpha Nerd. We'll give it to... Yeah, Relic Slaps! Toilet Duck, Graven Abomination. Graven Abomination is a 3-mana 3/1. When it attacks, exile target card from defending player's graveyard. Step 1, get the 3 mana. Step 2, play your Graven Abomination. Step 3, start attacking your opponent's graveyard. What a weird ability to have tacked on this thing. I guess it was just to eat up... Okay, so this was like, what is it, Hour of Devastation. I guess it was to eat up those embalmed creatures. Just eat those... You gotta eat up the flashback creatures before they get to flash them back. Nathaniel with Angel of Serenit? Oh, you mean Angel of Serenity. Oh, that is... What the hell? Okay, this is a 7-mana 5/6, and when it enters the battlefield, you can exile up to 3 other target creatures from the battlefield and/or creatures from the graveyard. When it leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to their owner's hand. This is such a terrible, terrible graveyard hate card. That's right. So it's like a weird 7-mana Oblivion Ring for the graveyard. That's a 5/6 flyer, though. Oh, that is a funny one. This is probably the best example of bad graveyard hate cards today. Ravenous Trap? What are you playing? Yu-Gi-Oh? Is this easy to pull off? I know that it exiles graveyards. This actually has seen competitive play. It's a 4-mana instant trap. If an opponent had 3 or more cards put in their graveyard from anywhere this turn, you can pay 0. This is a good card. Disqualified. Too good. Too good for this show. Where was the alert? Are people just not getting any alerts for this channel anymore? Maybe you gotta like unsub, resub, re-click the bell notification and everything. Okay, we have Vorniforous Cemetery Illuminator. Both the card and the user, hard to pronounce. I know what this is a spirit, right? I'm like, I wish I could play this thing. This is a 3-mana 2/3 flyer. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from a graveyard. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. For each turn, you may cast a spell from the top of your library if it shares a card type with a card exiled with Cemetery Illuminator. I think this card's amazing, but actually it doesn't see play whatsoever anywhere. You would think it should see play. 3-mana 2/3 spirit. You can play cards from the top of your library. Exiles upon attack. What is wrong with this thing? Mr. Deadhead didn't get one, that's why his lights... I don't know, the whole YouTube system is all messed up now. Okay, now we get in the super chats. Alright, Bacon Catbug coming out hot with Farewell, but you only pick the graveyard mode. Farewell, yeah, okay. Under the context that you can choose 4 modes, but you choose 1 instead, 6 mana just wipe out the graveyards. I'll accept that. That makes some sense to me. Okay, we're gonna get one from Christopher B. The Bazaar of Wonders. Sounds like something from Aladdin. The Cave of Wonders. Only take the lamp. Take nothing else. Here we have a 5-mana World Enchantment. When it comes into play, remove all cards and all graveyards from the game. Finally, we have Blue Graveyard Hate. This is what I've been waiting for my entire life. When a spell is played, counter it if a card with the same name is in play or in any graveyard. That is so bad. This is like worse than anything in Commander, because the odds that someone's gonna play a spell that's already been exiled with the Bazaar of Wonders is like zilch. Well, no, I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, everyone has access to Soul Ring, but like the point being, you're not gonna see the second card from the same deck, which I think was the idea of this spell. What else do we have here? The Jaded Cranial Extraction. is hard outdated these days. What do you mean outdated? I've never even heard of this card. 4 mana, sorcery, arcane. Name a non-land card. Search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for all cards with the same name, and remove them from the game. Then that player shuffles their library. So you're telling me in Commander, this can exile a whole 1 card from somebody's graveyard. Yeah, I don't like the look of your grave crawler. Alright, I don't like the look of your grave crawler. I will play Cranial Extraction to exile that 1 card from the game. Does not exile stuff? It's not exile. Hold on. Search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for all cards of the same name and remove it from the game. That worked. Or was the last one not graveyard hate? It's also remove cards from the game. When it comes to play, remove all cards and all graveyards from the game. Come on, this all works, people. And it's where we're looking at the worst graveyard hate cards in Magic the Gathering. These all qualify. Rest in Peace is insane. That's not a bad graveyard hate card at all. Okay, Bacon Catbug with Return to Nature. I think this card's amazing, but it just hasn't. Has this seen no play yet? Like it's literally a buffed up Disenchant that also can exile a card from a graveyard. Although if you try to lean on this card as your graveyard hate, it's like it's a little awkward. A little awkward. You can exile a whole 1 card. West Coast Games, worst graveyard hate, the Elms. It's a white enchantment, pay 1, remove the top card in your graveyard from the game. Prevent 1 damage to any creature. But if you have enough mana, you could exile everything from all graveyards and gain life while you're at it. Who doesn't like to gain life around here? Next up, Markzilla with Angel of Finality. Angel of Finality, a 4 mana 3/4 angel with flying, enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. That's underrated! That's pretty underrated. You have a decent 3/4 flying angel. And also, angels are usually not cheap. Angels are like 5, 6, 7 mana. This one's like pretty reasonable at 4 mana. Your graveyard, bro, not everyone else's. Where? What was it? Remove the top card in your graveyard. Well, then it's even worse. It's an even worse graveyard hate card because you can't even like exile your opponent's stuff. It exiles the grave, but it's not even anybody else's. I like this card even more. Delve cards are not counting for this show. Delve cards not count. Don't submit delve cards, I'll disqualify them. Okay, Alpha Nerd with Waste Management. Waste Management is a 3 mana instant with a kicker of 4. Exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. The spell was kicked. Instead, exile target player's just exile the entire graveyard and create a 2/2 black rogue creature token for each creature card exiled this way. That is a commander card if I ever saw one. That is a commander card. Prime Jaders with Corpse Explosion. Kaboom. We have a 3 mana sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Corpse Explosion deals damage equal to the exiled card's power to each creature and each planeswalker. So I can't even cast this card until I exile a creature card from a grave. It has to be from my graveyard too. I got it. One of my creatures has to die. And then I cast this, exile it, and then I blow up the board. Step 1, step 2, step 3, a little too hard to pull off. Okay, next up we're gonna have Alpha Nerd again. I'm gonna spread your stuff out soon, Alpha Nerd. You have Endurance. That's one of the best graveyard hate cards in the game. What are you talking about? Okay, so I am donating this failure of a super chat to somebody. We'll donate to Stanel. Has anyone said Junk Troller? Yeah, no one has said Junk Troller. How could you mention Endurance? That's like one of the best cards in the game right now. Okay, Junk Troller, 4 mana 0/6 with Defender. I hate it already. Tap, put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. We're not even exiling it from the game. Let's put target card from it. Well, at least we get to take a single card. Not like take the top card of your of a graveyard and put it on the bottom of a library. Alpha going for the grave hate that should be banned. Yeah, exactly. It's a weird strategy. Okay, surefire selves with unite the coalition. So I'm gonna choose to exile your graveyard, then do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and that's all I'm gonna do. Alright. So this is a Wooburg +2 mana instant. Choose 5. You may choose the same mode more than once. Target permanent phases out. Target player draws a card. Exile target player's graveyard. Unite the coalition deals 2 damage to any target. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. So you decide exile target player's graveyard 5 times. You know, sometimes you gotta clean something 5 times. Make sure there's no bacteria on it at all. Spick and span. Emperor, what do you got for us today? Sad that the show is moving to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time since I work from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. That being said, I have 5 cards. That's cheating! Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go back and forth with your cards. Okay, you have Web of Inertia. Take a look at one of these. I'm gonna go back and forth from your cards. Okay, we have a 5 mana enchantment at the beginning of each opponent's combat phase. That player may remove a card in their graveyard from the game. May? If that player doesn't, creatures they control can't attack you this turn. Oh! Okay. So that's actually a pretty neat card. Exile something. So this plus Rest in Peace means it's like a super propaganda. I like it. Drunk Troller is decent in like bottom of library strats. Are you serious? Are you serious? Well, I mean, if you really need to get those cards to the bottom, I guess there's not. It's like slim pickings, right? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of love for Gravestorm. How many people mentioned Gravestorm? I've seen Gravestorm a lot, so let's take a look at Gravestorm. Gravestorm, a 3-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent may remove a card in their graveyard from the game. If that player doesn't, you may draw a card. Ship it! So you may not guarantee. Also, you can't even target their graveyard. They can choose whatever rubbish card they want. Okay, exile this land. And so at the beginning of your upkeep. So it's not even happening that often. It's happening once a rotation. That's terrible. Next up, let's take a look at... Don't know if Old Boy got one yet. Mortiphobia. Mortiphobia is a 3-mana enchantment. Pay 2, discard a card from your hand. Remove target card in a graveyard from the game. Pay 2, sacrifice Mortiphobia. Remove target card in a graveyard from the game. 1 card for 5 mana. What a failure of a card. Oh, but you can discard. I see. You can discard a card from your hand. Okay, maybe it's less bad than I thought, but it's still pretty bad. Yeah, so let's exchange cards, valuable cards in my hand, for worthless cards that you have on the battlefield. Sorry, in the graveyard. Or I shouldn't say they're worthless. When you use it, you're going to use it. Lorecraft Tomb Raider from Cunning Linguist. I didn't know this affected the graveyard at all. 3 mana for 3/4, first strike reach. When it attacks, exile up to 1 target legendary artifact card or legendary land card from a graveyard and put a discovery counter on it. That is so narrow. You may play a card from exile with a discovery counter on it this turn. Oh, I get it. She's after like relics. Is Tomb Raider like sort of a joke on what is that movie George Lucas made? I can't remember that. Indiana Jones. There we go. Lara Croft seems like an Indiana Jones parody. Now I want Lara Croft versus Indiana Jones. Yeah, who's going to get there first? The old grave robbers out there. All right, definitely qualifies. Right, at the end of combat on your turn, if you attack this turn, create a treasure token. Okay, we'll take another one from Emperor. So what else you had, Emperor? You had Arcane Heist. Arcane Heist, the 4 mana sorcery. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard without paying its mana cost. That's if the spell would be put into their graveyard, exile it instead. Okay, I guess I'll count that. So you cast their cards, so you exile them from their graveyard. It's pretty weird. Yeah, epic rap battles of history got there first. Oh, did they? Laura Croft. Does that exist? Indiana Jones versus Laura Croft? I'm gonna have to look at it. I'm gonna have to look into that. Oh, you guys are literally talking about a card called Grave Robbers. Let's look up Grave Robbers. There it is. Okay, we have a 3-mana 1/1. Pay a black, tap. Take 1 artifact from any graveyard and remove it from the game, and then you get a whole 2 life. Congratulations. Next super chat coming from Ecos. The Funeral Pyre exile a card to gift a 1/1. Funeral Pyre. It is a white instant for 1 mana. Remove target card in a graveyard from the game. Its owner puts a 1/1. We are giving them a 1/1 in exchange. We're giving them a 1/1 with flying after exiling their card. This is a poor person surgical extraction, if you ask me. It's poor person surgical extraction. Ghost Chips with Weathered Runestone. You know, I don't think Weathered Runestone is a bad card. It's just a card that sees no play. 2-mana artifact. Non-land permanent cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. It, like, has every metric that you would think you would want, but just ends up, like, just seeing no play. I don't know, maybe a few commander get a poor person's Grafdigger's Cage. Although I don't think Grafdigger's Cage is all that expensive overall. Okay, next up, we'll take a one from J-Hogue. Noxious Revival. That is... Okay, you know what? I'll allow that. That actually might be great graveyard hate. You might be totally right, Jay. Okay, it is for a Phyrexian mana. Put target card from a graveyard on top of its owner's library. So if you try to reanimate, like, some big baddie... you'd be like, okay, I have a response. The Noxious Revival. Put target card from a graveyard on top of its owner's library. You know what? You're making me think about this card. Maybe this card is very, very good. Yeah, I'll allow the CEDH staple. But is it used as graveyard hate? I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe it is a graveyard hate card. That nobody, I'll say, in like modern, legacy, all the competitive formats, nobody uses this as graveyard hate. This is sometimes just a means of like getting a combo card that you need from your graveyard back on top of your library to combo off again. Against Reanimator, it's really, yeah, I think it is. It's like a weird, and on top of that, it's not always dead. You can also bring your own stuff from the graveyard back on top of your library. I like how versatile this card is. Make me think. Maybe it's a completely unsung hero in the competitive formats. At a push, I guess a niche one if desperate to stop or reanimate dead. That's exactly what you would use it for. You could also use it to put something useless on top of the... Oh! Navy Dave with the tech! Yeah, put a fetch land back on top of their deck or something. Put a land. Says target player. Yeah, that's right. Put target card from a lot. Well, this one says target card, any card, on top of its owner's library. Okay, next up, let's take a look at Lerla Tombfire. Tombfire is a black sorcery. Target player removes all cards with flashback in their graveyard from the game. And it's a sorcery too, which is even more brutal. Ugh. They made better anti-flashback cards in the future. Okay, next up, we'll take a look at... oh god. Okay, well, Steve Cooper is gonna donate for 3 people. Alright, 3 freebies. First one from Toad, Cemetery Tampering. What does that mean? Tampering with the cemetery? Tampering. There we go. Cemetery Tampering. 3 mana enchantment with Hideaway 5. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may mill 3 cards. If there are 20 or more cards in your graveyard, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Hold on, you mill 3 cards. If there are 20 or more cards in your graveyard, you may play the exiled card. Does this even work? This enchantment enters the battlefield. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Exile 1. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may mill 3 cards. It's more of a milling card than exiling. If there are 20 more cards, you may play the exiled card. This actually does not exile the graveyard at all. You're not on your game, Toads, today. Not on your game. Abzo with Kunaros. Which one? Which one? Maybe this one? Okay, 3 mana for a 3/3. Vigilance, Menace, Lifelink. Creature cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield, and also players can't cast spells from graveyards. This card looks great! This card looks so good. Does anyone even know this card exists? I think that's the problem with this card. Nobody knows this card exists, hence nobody plays it. It's a reasonably cost spell. It's like 3 mana. It's not gonna break your bank. Yeah, it's body with extra benefits. Body with benefits. Next up, let's take a look at Starfire Dragon's Identity Crisis. This is a 6 mana sorcery. Remove all cards in target player's hand and graveyard from the game for the low cost of splashing 2 cards and 6 mana. And Corbinek, a card of its time, the Tom Fire. Oops, I looked up Tim Fire. Tom Love. Oh, Tomb Fire, you mean? Tomb Fire. Oh no, so we looked at this one already. Sorry about that. Soul Guide Lantern is not bad. That card's better than it looks. It has seen some niche play. Maybe we go with Shenfred's Headstone. Shenfred, did you get like 2 super chats? Okay, instant for a black and 1 generic. Remove from the game target card in any graveyard. Draw a card at the beginning of your next turn's upkeep. So remove from the game target card in any graveyard. Oh, so 2 mana. I sort of like this because it cantrips off of itself. So you get to exile a critical card from a graveyard. It's at instant speed. You get to draw a card later. I love it. This is very good for a bad card. Okay, next up. Alpha Nerd, Carrion Locust. This is a 3 mana 2/1 flyer. Enters the battlefield, exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. If it was a creature card, they lose 1 life. Well, you're gonna have to put that in the insect deck for anyone that's interested in insects. Relic of Progenitus is good. Look, we need bad cards. Bad cards. This is a bad card. You're gonna put the 2/1 for 3 mana in your deck? No, you're not gonna do it. Although someone might. The cool thing about these shows is we get to look at some like really niche cards that people don't even know exist. And there might be an insect deck out there. There might be a horror deck that'd be like, do you know what? I could use the Carrion Locust. I've been looking for some graveyard hate attached to my creatures. I once say a good friend and a game of CDH with Jack O'Lantern. Ameri was the commander. Okay, so this is a 1 mana artifact. Pay 1, tap, sacrifice Jack-o'-lantern. Exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. Draw a card. Pay 1, exile Jack-o'-lantern from your graveyard. Add 1 mana. Add 1 mana of any color. Exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. Oh, but we have to sacrifice the whole thing. This is like a crappy Relic of Progenitus, a very crappy version. Okay, next time we'll take a look at another one from Emperor. Moratorium Stone. Moratorium Stone. Moratorium Stone is a 1 mana artifact. Pay 2, tap, remove target card in a graveyard from the game. Look at that, you can exile infinite number of cards from the graveyard for the low cost of 2 mana. It also has 4 mana, tap, sacrifice Moratorium Stone. Remove from the game target non-land card in a graveyard, and all their cards in graveyards with the same name as that card, and all permanents with that name. That card is extra sad in Commander. It's hard to nail a card in the graveyard that matches cards in play. You're only allowed one card per deck. All right, it's time to thank our sponsor, FusionGamingOnline.com. Deal of the week this By the way, the deal of the week this week, save 15% off old white bordered sets. Like, we're talking revised, unlimited. You're looking to get some reserve list cards and you're waiting for a deal? Well, 15% off is the deal that you want to get. Don't forget that, well, the Fusion Open is coming up later this month. I will be there. And also Outlaws of Thunder Junction, if you're looking for any new spoiled cards to upgrade your Commander decks, your Modern decks, your Pioneer decks. Might want to get them at FusionGamingOnline.com. You know why? Because it supports the channel. You can also get an additional 5% off when you use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. Thanks, everyone who supports the channel. Rose gonna also thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. They got CEDH now online. Now they have CEDH leagues. You're looking to put your Commander deck to the test versus other people playing at a competitive level? Well, now you can on Magic the Gathering Online, MTGO. And you can rent cards from Mana Traders to unlock any possible Commander deck you could want. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_FL0. And back to the terrible graveyard hate cards. Awful graveyard hate cards. Christopher B. Farika. God of Affliction. This is a 3-mana 5/5 indestructible god. As long as your devotion to black and green is less than 7, Farika is not a creature. 2 mana, exile target creature card from a graveyard. Its owner puts a 1/1 black and green snake enchantment creature token with death touch on the battlefield. God, that's awful. It's like reverse scavenging ooze. I'm paying more mana for this. My opponent gets the benefit, and I can only exile creature cards. It's the inverted scavenging ooze, I would say. Inverted. Next super chat coming from a lot of these super chats come from the same person. Robert. Robert, Landscaper Kolos is so bad it was even a dud in draft. It's a 6-mana 4/6 Goat Beast. Enters the battlefield. Put target card from an opponent's graveyard on the bottom of their library. Basic land cycling for 2 mana. It's better as a land cycler, if anything else. It's a Goat Beast? Is it even a goat? What part of goat is this? Oh, I see the horns. Yeah, it's a weird looking goat. That's a weird looking goat around here. Anna, Junk Troller. Junk Troller, 4 mana. Oh, we saw this one. Is it an alternate art? Well, they do have several arts. No, but I think we saw this art earlier. Someone to foresee with Rai Zorian Badger. Badger. Okay, 3 mana for a 2/2. If the Badger attacks and is not blocked, you may choose to have it deal no damage to defending player this turn. And if you do so, remove from the game up to 2 target creatures from that player's graveyard. Gain 1 life for each creature removed this way. That is some really hard work you have to put through in order to get your creature going. David, Grafdigger's Cage is like a tier 1 card. Get out of here. Okay, we'll go to another super chat. We'll take another one from Alpha Nerd, I guess. The Phyrexian Furnace is absolute trash. Furnace. Phyrexian Furnace is a 1-mana artifact. Tap, remove the bottom card of target player's graveyard from the game. Oh yeah, that's the most valuable card of them all. And then pay 1, sacrifice Phyrexian Furnace, remove target card in any graveyard from the game, and draw a card. I like that you at least get to draw a card off of it. It's got a very Relic of Progenitus feel. But just shows how much, like this is just like a worse Relic of Progenitus, right? Because Relic just say tap, make target opponent, like, exile a card from their graveyard, but it can be anything. It's effectively going to be the same thing. Probably the most valuable card is not going to be on the bottom. Does anyone play with Graveyard Order? Any of your friends play with a card that depends on Graveyard Order? And then they have to say at the beginning of the game, you have to play your Graveyard Order right. Don't screw it up. I got special cards like Phyrexian Furnace in my deck. Old school magic right there. Bean Pot, Zombie Cannibal. We got a black 1/1 zombie. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove target card in that player's graveyard from the game. Look, I think this is pretty decent for a zombie deck. You're looking for zombie playables that will also help exile their graveyards. Boom. We got zombie cannibal. That'll work for you in a pinch. Cunning Linguist with the whip poor will. Oh, it's a bird. It bird. Okay, we have a green 1/1 whip poor will. Green tap. Until end of turn, target creature may not regenerate and damage done to target creature may not be prevented or redirected. If target creature goes to the graveyard, remove it from the game. Does this count? I guess. Maybe. I don't think so, actually. I can't count this. Like, it's like, if it went to the graveyard, it gets exiled. But it's more of a thing of, like, it was never in the graveyard in the first place. Or, like, that, you could say the same thing about Rest in Peace in some way. And, what's it called? Leyline of the Void. Okay, I guess it counts. Whippoorwill is a banger! I don't know, maybe back in the day or something. Stranger Candy, Barrow Ghoul. 2 mana for a 4/4 zombie. During your upkeep, remove the top creature card in your graveyard from the game, or Barrow Ghoul. It's not even good at exiling your own graveyard. Yeah, if something really needed to die back then. I don't even know if they even had reanimate cards back then, or many. Well, I guess they had some. They had a few. Okay, Emperor, what was another card that you had on this list? You had Morbid Bloom. Morbid Bloom, a 6-mana sorcery. Remove target creature card in a graveyard from the game. Then you put X 1/1 green sapling creature tokens into play, where X is the remove card's toughness. Excellent for the sapling deck. I think that would work out. Whippoorwill can't fly. It should have been a Kiwi. Oh my, you're right. It did not fly. Elixir with Frog Hemoth. 5 mana for a 4/4 Frog Horror, Trample Haste. When Frog Hemoth deals combat damage to a player, exile up to that many target cards from their graveyard. But +1/+1 counter on Frog Hemoth. For each creature card exiled this way, you gain 1 life for each non-creature card exiled this way. Huh? I didn't catch that the first time. Okay, it's 5 mana for a Trampling Haste creature. We deal damage, exile up to that many cards. Oh, so I can exile up to like 4. And put a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature card exiled this way. It's not the worst, but it's not guaranteed either. Prime Jader says, Nikachu, do we have a best worst reanimator card show coming soon? Well, today's the worst one. I mean, oh, you mean best worst reanimator? No, we should have a worst reanimator cards show. 7 mana reanimate a 2/2 or something like that. Okay, next super chat we got from, I'll take one from El Chupacabra. Oh yeah, Chupacabra, what? Anyway, first time in chat for the stream. Donate to chat. Oh, thank you very much. I'm just calling you El. El Chu. It's easier for me to pronounce. I don't know if you're, it sounds like you have a name like a variation of Chupacabra or whatever. Okay, who has not got anything yet? Anyone got nothing? I think Hive of the Eye Tyrant is like a really, really, really good card. Even for its exiling ability. Like, the exiling is just free. Okay, we'll go with Dinglebag's Carrion Beetles. Carrion Beetles is a black 1/1 insect, 3 mana tap. Remove from the game up to 3 target cards in 1 graveyard. 3 mana, exile 3 cards. Another insect. I guess it's flavorful that the insects eat the graveyard, right? They chew everything up. It won't be there anymore. Try to reanimate your dragon. Well, I'm sorry, got eaten by the bugs. Those worms, they go crazy for it. Matt, Deathrite Shaman is one of the most broken cards of all time. Also one of the most broken graveyard hate cards of all time. And Mana Dork definitely does not count. Okay, next super chat we got from Ecos, Grip of Amnesia is interestingly bad. This is a 2-mana instant. Counter target spell unless its controller removes their graveyard from the game. Draw a card. What if there's nothing there? I mean, what if there's nothing in the graveyard? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, can't I always counter this? Counter target spell unless its controller removes their graveyard from the game. Alright, I have nothing there. I choose to exile it. That works out, right? So this will never resolve. It's like, it's like a really weird spot. I mean, I guess if I have something so important in that graveyard, I'll make sure that, I'll just let my spell get countered, but still. That is bad. You are correct. Spelling variation of Chupacabra. Chupacabra. Okay. Thank you very much, El Chu. I'm not surprised that a lot of these cards are older. Oh, they're all terrible. They're just terrible cards. Is there an errata? Counter target spell unless its controller exile all cards from their graveyard. No, it's basically the same thing. Basically. Love that WWTBAM music. I have no idea what that means. It doesn't, Zyber. Okay, Bryce says Forbidden Crypt. It's bad. Okay, Forbidden Crypt is a 5-mana enchantment. Whenever you would draw a card, instead return target card from your graveyard to your hand. If you can't, you lose the game. What? If you would draw a card instead return target card. That's a really awkward graveyard hate. Whenever a card would be put into your graveyard, instead remove that card from the game. This is weird. Hold on, what is the point of that? Whenever you would draw a card, instead return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, I see. Instead of drawing from the top of my deck, I'm drawing from my library. It's not even like it's not. I don't even know if we count this as graveyard hate. This is like it's like card. I would look at it more like it's card draw for the graveyard. Hold on, whenever a card would be put into a graveyard. Put into only at my graveyard. Well, it is graveyard hate, I guess, for me. Okay, next up, we're gonna take a look at Benovsky. Thank you very much for your super chat. Good Friday morning, coffee crew. So many donations today. People just are in the donating mood. Freakinka apparently didn't get a card yet. Apostle of Purifying. Apostle. Because that's value. The Purifying Light. Okay, it's a 2-mana 2/1 human cleric. Protection from black. Pay 2. Exile target. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, it's actually only 2 mana. So if you have infinite mana, you can, in fact, exile all graveyards. This is not the worst card I've ever seen. Not the worst card at all. Corbinek, Primal Command. Primal Command is a 5-mana sorcery. You get to choose 2. Target player gains 7 life. Put target non-creature permanent on top of its owner's library. Target player shuffles their graveyard into their library, probably the least used mode, and search your library for a creature card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. The command, the primal command. I feel very primal about this. Okay, next, okay, we'll get the last one from Emperor. The Thelon of Havenwood. This is a 2-mana 2/2 Elf Druid. When each fungus gets +1/+1 for each spore counter on it. And for 2 mana, you can exile a fungus card from a graveyard. I wonder whose graveyard is going to have funguses. Probably your own. And put a spore counter on each fungus on the battlefield. I threaten to exile my own cards to buff up my own cards. The mirror must be crazy. It must be insane. No one wants to get their cards in the graveyard. Whoever has the Thelon of Havenwood, it's the Mirror Breaker. Okay, next up, let's take a look at... I don't know who to take here. I see a lot of the same stuff. Is Waste not like a bad graveyard hate card? I guess we have to be in a spot where, like, who hasn't got a second card yet? Okay, 2 mana enchantment. Whenever an opponent discards a creature card, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, whenever an opponent... This is actually not... This is not graveyard hate at all. This is graveyard filler. Yeah, there doesn't even say exile anywhere on this card. Yeah, it doesn't count at all. Okay, Blackbird, Marionette Master. Six mana for a 1/3, but it's got Fabricate 3. Whenever an artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette's power. This doesn't work either. What's with you people? This creature enters the battlefield, put 3 +1/+1 counters on it. Nothing has anything to do with the graveyard. Yeah, also doesn't count. Okay, I'm just gonna go to Super Chats. Alpha Nerd with Ebony Charm. 1 mana instant, choose 1. Target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life, or remove from the game up to 3 target cards in any player's graveyard, or target creature can't be blocked this turn except by artifact or black creatures. A little bit of unblockable, a little bit of drain and gain. Also exile 3 cards at the same time. Matt, Slaughter Games. This is a pretty good card, but not like... it's a good hate card for combos, but it's a very bad hate card for graveyards. Name an on-land card, search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. Then that player shuffles their library, and it's uncounterable. I named Thassa's Oracle. Get rid of it. Kill with fire. Fabricio, Shadow of the Enemy. 6 mana sorcery, exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. You may cast spells from among those cards for as long as they remained exiled, and mana of any type that can be spent to cast them. So it's basically 6 mana, exile cards, like a very specific card type from one player's graveyard, and you probably don't have enough mana to cast them anyway. And Steve Cooper mentioning with Slaughter Games, Relentless Rats hates this. Yeah, this is the hard counter to a Relentless Rats deck. The hard counter. Oh, Stanel, welcome. Also, RP Lunchtime EST live shows. I'll miss you all, something awful. Also, Psychic Spiral. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a bit of a rotation. Don't worry, it's an experiment, but probably it's going to be... The time has changed several times on this show. We used to be, I think, like 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Maybe it was also 9 a.m. Then I actually pushed it to 11 because I wanted the ability to sleep in. And the moment I switched it, I was waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, like on a regular basis. Okay, the Psychic Spiral, a 5 mana instant. Shuffle all cards from your graveyard into your library. Target player puts that many cards from the top of their library into their graveyard. Hold on. Shuffle all cards from your graveyard into your library. Target player puts that many cards from the top of their library. This is weird graveyard self-hate. Very strange graveyard self-hate. I think we did Ashes the Aberrant. Don't think we've done Headstone though. Or maybe, did we remove from the game target card in any graveyard? Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's up to you. No, we did a Headstone. Heirloom Mirror. Heirloom Mirror is a 2 mana artifact. Pay 1 tap, pay 1 life. Discard a card, draw a card, mill a card, then put a ritual counter on Heirloom Mirror. Then if it has 3 or more ritual counters on it, remove them and transform it. Activate as a sorcery. Is this graveyard hate? Oh, this is the worst graveyard hate. Okay, it turns into a 4/4 flying demon. Pay 3. Exile target creature card from a graveyard to put +1/+1 counter on Inherited Fiend. It's like, where is this going? This is so many steps. I gotta tap this 3 times, get 3 counters, and then flip it into this damn thing and still pay 3 more mana into it. It's awful. Yixid Jailer. Exit Jailer. If I remember, this is like such a neat card. Cards in graveyards lose all abilities. It's just not quite good enough, is it? It's like for the zombie and wizard decks, but like they don't want it. That's too bad. All right, next up, we're gonna take a look at Cunning Linguist. I can more often make afternoon, evening shows, but whatever is easiest for you. 5 donations to chat. Thank you so much, Cunning Linguist. Remember, there's always the replay. There's always replays. Give the first one to Christopher B with Honored Heirloom. Honored Heirloom is a 3-mana artifact that taps for a mana, or you can pay to exile target card from a graveyard. You can do it tons of times if you have enough disposable mana. Toilet Duck, Tasha, the Witch Queen. The 5-mana 4 loyalty Tasha. Whenever you cast a spell you don't own, get a 3/3 black demon creature token. +1, draw a card. For each opponent, exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from that player's graveyard and put a page counter on it. Or -3, you may cast a spell from among cards in exile with page counters on them without paying its mana cost. Like, what? I don't get, like, do some people just not understand the show? Hold on. Oh, sorry. Okay, no, the +1 had the exile. I'm sorry, this one actually qualifies. This definitely works. Exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from that player's graveyard and put a page counter, and then you get to play them. Yeah, this one works. It's like there are a lot of these cards submitted today, like, this doesn't exile anything. It does absolutely nothing to graveyards. Okay, Toads wants redemption. So this is the 3rd donation. Grave Consequences. Look at the art, looks like an unset card or unglued or something. This doesn't look like a regular Magic card. 2-mana instant. Each player may remove any number of cards in their graveyard from the game. Then each player loses 1 life for each card in their graveyard. Also, draw a card. You call that a nightmare? It says Braids Dementia Summoner. Each player may remove any number of cards in their graveyard from the game. Then each player loses 1 life for each card. Oh, I see. So you're like giving them the option to exile cards. This very likely is not going to do what you want it to do. They're like, okay, I'll just exile everything in my graveyard except like the 2 cards that matter. I'll lose 2 life. No problem. Fabricio says, Living Death. It does work as grave hate. In some way. In a really weird way. Okay, sorcery for 5 mana. Each player exiles all creature cards from their graveyard, then sacrifices all creatures they control, then puts all cards they exiled this way onto the battlefield. In some, like, I guess this might hurt a dredge player if you can take all their dredge creatures and put them on the battlefield so they can't dredge anymore. Like, I don't know how, like, it's definitely some really, really niche, weird graveyard hate. If there's if there's creatures you don't want in their graveyard and you want them on the battlefield, you play the Living Death. And Bryce with Drudge Skeleton. Drudge Skeleton is a 2-mana 1/1 to regenerate it. Ugh, come on. This has nothing to do with graveyard hate. Maddie with Rhizorian Badger. Oh, we did this one, unfortunately. David! Saprazen Bailiff. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. We have a 5-mana creature. It's a 2/2. It's a merfolk. Okay, when it comes into play, remove all artifact and enchantment cards in all graveyards from the game. And then when Saprazen Bailiff leaves play, return all artifact and enchantment cards from all graveyards from the game. That is bad graveyard hate. That actually acts as graveyard hate. Okay, next up, let's take, we have super chats. We have one from Alphanerd. Unlicensed Hearst is the worst. No, it is one of the most popular cards. So I'm going to donate that one. No way Unlicensed Hearst is like one of the best one. Felden's Cane from West Coast Games. Pay 1, tap, remove Felden's Cane from the game, reshuffle your graveyard into your library. Self-graveyard hate. Tormod's Crypt is just good enough. Well, by today's standards, it's not really that good. But it's still definitely playable. We did farewell already, as weird as that sounds. Ooh, this one, Crypt Incursion. Card slapback in standard Esper sideboards. So it's like, the card is mostly for gaining life, because it's a 3-mana instant. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. You gain 3 life for each creature card exiled this way. It's not really meant to hate on your graveyard, but yeah, you have that option if you really want to. It's really like, it's supposed to be just a means of getting a million life. Keep your head above water. Next super chat. Cunning Linguist, we did Mudhole. So we're going to donate that one Cunning Linguist to... Oh, you meant Drudge Spell? Okay. It's like, what is going on here? Okay, Drudge Spell is a 2-mana enchantment. Pay a black, remove from the game 2 target creatures in your graveyard to put a skeleton token into play. Treat this token as a 1/1 black creature with pay black regenerate. If Drudge Spell leaves play, bury all skeleton tokens. Just strange. I got a new Merfolk for my commander deck. Yeah, exiling all the artifacts and enchantments. Okay, we have Matt with Cry the Carnarium. Okay, we have a 3-mana sorcery. All creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Exile all creature cards in all graveyards that were put there from the battlefield this turn. If a creature would die this turn, exile it instead. I guess this can be, because this is like very Leyline of the Voidish type of graveyard hate. Okay, next up. What did not count? I don't know which one did not count. Okay, I'm gonna go next up with Cunning Linguist Super Chat. Right. Oh no, I think you mentioned... Did you mention this one? How many people mentioned the Badger? I think this is the Badger, right? The Razorian Badger? Yeah. I think that's like the 2nd or 3rd time we got that one super chatted. Night Soil? From the Fox Clouds, Night Soil. Oh, we did that one. Are we running out of cards? For Ginka, Ashnod's Harvester. I hate you specifically. Okay, 2-mana, 3/1. When it attacks, exile target card from a graveyard. Also has Unearth, so it can come back. You try to block it, well, probably whatever you blocked with died. Otherwise, why did I attack with this thing? Panofsky is reminding everyone that raccoons are greater than badgers. Hey, let's not be hating on the badger fam out there, all right? Might be some badger people out there. I know that there's a big raccoon, I don't know, club out there. Steve Cooper's part of it. Okay, let's give one to Christopher B. Christopher B is very good at finding cards. Probably knows every single card in the encyclopedia. Scour. Scour is a 4-mana instant. Remove target enchantment from the game. Search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library. For all cards with the same name as that enchantment, remove them from the game. That player then shuffles their library. Remove target enchantment from the game. Search its controller. So this is like gonna be really hard to pull off. It's like sort of fine if you're playing just one-on-one Magic, 60-card Magic. But if it's Commander Magic, it actually literally will not even exile a single card from the player's graveyard. Yeah, Honey Badger don't care. You can hate on the Badgers all you want. Honey Badger don't care. Okay, Kagan with the $5. Uchulon. It was great. When it was a great one I got from Mind Flayer's Precon, I think. Okay, it's a 4-mana star 4. It's a Crab Ooze horror. And its power is equal to the number of crabs, oozes, and/or horrors you control. Horrific Symbiosis. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target creature card from an opponent's graveyard. And if you do, you get a token that's a copy of Uchulon. It's not bad. It's graveyard hate that multiplies itself. Okay, we're now in super chat territory. What's next? Okay, Cunning Linguist, Saprozan Did you? I feel so sorry for you, Cunning Linguist. I think all of your stuff got sniped. I think that's the Bailiff. That's the merfolk, right? Oh no, Cunning Linguist. I appreciate you, Cunning Linguist. Okay, I'm gonna donate it to Zombie Blaster with Withered Wretch. Withered Wretch, a 2-mana 2/2. It's a zombie cleric, and pay 1, exile target card from a graveyard. So simple, and yet so effective, and yet so unplayable. It's not an issue. Sorry about that. Anyway, Cunning Linguist. Okay, Surefire Selves. Is Wizard's Spellbook playable? Probably not. I wouldn't say I've never heard of it. I just don't know if it's a good or bad graveyard hate card. 7 mana, artifact, tap, exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. Roll a d20. Activate only as a sorcery. 1 to 9, copy the card, you may cast the copy. 10 to 19, copy the card, you may cast the copy by paying 1 rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Or 20, copy each card exiled with Wizard's Spellbook, you may cast any number of copies without paying their mana cost. Yes, this is a very expensive graveyard hate card. 7 mana to, at sorcery speed, exile instants and sorceries. Then flashback cards. Kagan, almost forgot about the stream today. Well, you're here anyway, and we so much appreciate it, Kagan. And with that super chat. Does Psychotog count? Not really. What? You're looking at all like the self graveyard hate cards for some reason. Yeah, Tarmogoyf don't count. Let's see. Maddie, Phyrexian Furnace. Or did we do this one? Yeah, we got this one. Oh, Death Notable, Guided Spirits. Guiding. Guiding Spirits. 3 mana for 1/2. It's an Angel. Okay, tap. If the top card of target player's graveyard is a creature card, put that card on the bottom. It's bottom of the library. This is like one of the worst cards we've seen all day. 3 mana for the ability to, if the top card of target player's graveyard is a creature card, put that card on the bottom of their library. That's so funny. Maddie says, people just Scryfall, exile, and graveyard, don't even look if it's actually proper graveyard hate. You know what? I think you're right, Maddie. I think you're right. People submit cards without actually reading them. It's okay. Okay, Kagan, Nurgle's Conscription from the 40k set. So it didn't age well. It's a 5 mana instant. Put target creature card from the opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield tapped under your control. Then exile that player's graveyard. Oh, wow! This card's great! I actually think this card is very good. It's like instant speed, reanimator, and graveyard hate packaged into one. I'm surprised it's so cheap. No one wants to play this card? Unbelievable. Graveyard order should always be respected. Oh my god, you're like a rules purist, are you? Samurai Motoko. Well, this is graveyard hate. This is definitely graveyard hate, without a doubt. Okay, it may have been done before I got here. Hidetsugo consumes all. No, we didn't actually do that one. Hidetsugo consumes all. Now, this is a 3 mana saga. It actually sees a lot of play, but not really for exiling the graveyard. It's a 3 mana, chapter 1. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. Like, this is the main reason you play this card. Now, it does have the ability to exile a graveyard, but you gotta, like, wait until next turn for it to be enabled. And then chapter 3, exile the saga, returns to the battlefield into the 3/3 Vessel of All Consuming. It is a trampling, it's a trampling vessel. It does things. It can make the opponent lose the game under a certain condition. Stranger Candy says, dude, it's literally in the rules that graveyard hate isn't factored in anymore. It's a dead rule. He's wrong. Huh? That graveyard hate? What are you talking about? What is this even in response to? Oh, graveyard order. Oh, really? They got rid of graveyard order? Because there's still some cards that matter for graveyard order. Or are, like, graveyard order cards just banned? Because you can't just, like, someone can't just play a graveyard order card that matters, and then you can just, like, reorder your graveyard however you want. I'm gonna ask a judge about that. Does graveyard order matter under some circumstance? Or are the cards just errata that, hold on, let's go back to one card. Okay. Let's look at the errata on this thing. If the top card of target player's graveyard is a creature card, put that card on the bottom of the player's library. Order only matters if you declare that you are running one beforehand, I think. That's the only way this would make sense to me. Because obviously it does matter for many cards. It matters to a ton of cards. Yeah, it definitely doesn't matter for design anymore. They'll never bring that back. Because we don't want to order our graveyards in any way. Never again. Okay, I have no idea where we are. I'm just going to continue with the super chats. Going with Ferginka, Aven Interrupter. Or Aven Interrupter. No, Aven Is it Interpreter? No, Aven Inter. I'm just going to Aven Inter. It's an Aven Interrupter. It's a 3-mana 2/2 bird rogue. Flash flying. When the interrupter enters the battlefield, exile target spell. It becomes plotted. This is like a new card. We don't even know if it's bad graveyard hate yet. Spells your opponents cast from the graveyard or from exile cost 2 more to cast. This card is great. Well, we're gonna see if I think we have to wait to see if this is gonna be good or bad graveyard hate. Could be good, could be terrible. I have a feeling this is gonna be a pretty good card, period. Benovsky is like, I already have to keep track of Storm. I don't want to micromanage the opponent's graveyard, or your own graveyard for that matter. Hey, you didn't put that into your graveyard in the right order, blah, blah, blah. And I also think it has something to do with the order of when your permanents entered the battlefield, so you'd also have to, like, keep track of, like, okay, this permanent came out first, this permanent came out second, third, fourth, and fifth. It's like, it's an absolute disaster. They should just they should just ban all the graveyard order cards. That would make a whole lot of sense to me. Just like how they banned, from that set, like all those draft matter cards. They just ban all the graveyard order cards. Just get them out of here. We don't need them. Completely unnecessary to our existence in the game. Okay, next up. We've got Cunning Linguist, Spellweave Volute. Okay, that one I don't think we've done. Cunning Linguist, unfortunately, got tons of cards sniped today. 5-mana Aura. Enchant instant card in a graveyard. When you ever play a sorcery spell, copy the enchanted instant card. You may play the copy without paying its mana cost. If you do, remove the enchanted card from the game and attach Spellweave Volute to another instant card in a graveyard. That works! This is another top 5 worst graveyard hate. This is really hard to use. 5 mana to then enchant the card in the graveyard, which sounds like an unset card, and then you can cast the spell to exile it from the graveyard. Next up with Kagan, Shalob. What a weird name. It's very close to Slob. Shalod Dread Weaver makes use of that hate. Okay, we have a 4-mana 3/3 Spider Demon. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, it gets exiled. Pay 3, put a creature card exiled with Shalob into its owner's graveyard. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on Shalob. Draw a card. Then also for a black 1 generic X, put target creature card with mana value X exiled with Shalob onto the battlefield tapped under your control. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, this is not graveyard hate, honestly. Can someone explain to me how this is graveyard hate? In any capacity? I mean, it's not even like... Oh, sorry. Whenever a non-token creature... Oh, okay. No, it is. It's good. It's good. It's good. I missed the... I thought it was whenever a token creature an opponent controls dies, and I'm like, of course it gets exiled. But then that doesn't make it... Why would they even do that? Yeah, this is a good one. Okay, Benovsky. Imagine those that pulled the Archangel's Light. Okay, 8 mana. You gain 2 life for each card in your graveyard, then shuffle your graveyard into your library. But it was a great... We got a bunch of life out of that. It was worth it. I'm surprised no one... I'm surprised not many people went for the shuffle graveyard, because it doesn't need to exile, remember? It could also shuffle. I started the show with a card that shuffled all our graveyard cards back into our libraries. Okay, next up, we'll go with Kagan's Graveyard Trespasser. Is a rare black werewolf. You don't say. Graveyard Trespasser, a 3-mana 3/3 human werewolf with ward. Discard a card. Whenever Graveyard Trespasser enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. You know, to be honest, I think this is a good card. This sees a lot of play in Pioneer. It's not the great... Well, you know what? No, I guess it's fine. It's like... It's good for the creature, and then like that graveyard hate is gravy, but I would never play this card for the graveyard hate. Because like to kill this thing, you have to discard a card. That's value. You have to basically lose 2 cards in order to get 1. Well, the Trespasser is a great card. The question is it good graveyard hate? That's the awkward part. Now, but it does enter the battlefield and exile something. It's close. It's close. Emperor with Death or Glory. This one's a 5-mana sorcery. Separate all creature cards in your graveyard into 2 face-up piles. Remove the pile of an opponent's choice from the game and return the other to play. I'm not even gonna count this. This is just like a This is Graveyard Reanimate. You could when we have a show of the worst Reanimator cards, we'll have Death or Glory. Okay, we're gonna donate this one. Who's gonna get the donation? Christian Ching with Agonizing Remorse. Is the ultimate graveyard hate. 2 mana, sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an online card from it or a card from their graveyard. Exile that card, you lose 1 life. So what the hell? Okay, I get to see your hand. And with that information, I will now choose a card from your graveyard. This has really swapped it around here. Okay, Bryce. Is World Fire considered bad? It's bad graveyard hate. I don't know anyone splashing red and paying 9 mana to remove everyone's graveyard. Exile all permanents and all cards from all hands and graveyards. This player becomes 1. Okay, Cunning Linguist. Unite the Coalition. Oh, we did this one. Sorry about that. We did that one. You got sniped. We did Mudhole. Did we do Planar Void? VHB Master. I think we did that one as well. Are we just running out of cards? Starfire Dragon, Memory Plunder. Oh, we didn't do this one. Big Fish. Okay, for quadruple blue or quadruple black. Instant. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard without paying its mana cost. Beautiful. Graveyard hate for instants and sorceries. Cunning Linguist. Aurelia's Vindicator. This is a 4-mana, 4/2 Angel, Flying Lifelink, Ward 2, and Disguise for a white 3 generic. It has X. When Aurelia's Vindicator is turned face up, exile up to X other target creatures from the battlefield and or creature cards from graveyards. When Aurelia's Vindicator leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to their owner's hand. Hold on, it's exile up to X other target creatures from the battlefield and or creature cards from the graveyard. This is neat. What a neat card. Did Cunning Linguist get sniped again? What? How? Oh, maybe you're very far down. The last super chat we saw from Cunning Linguist was quite a ways ago. Emperor with Endless Detour. Very endless. Bant. Okay, so for Bant colors, it is instant. The owner of target spell, non-land permanent, or card in a graveyard puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Target spell? Or you get to choose one. So 3 mana, I'd like to submerge your graveyard or your graveyard card. Okay, next up, we're gonna do, well, it's just Emperor from here on out, it looks like. Okay, Emperor with Rito Sentinel. The 3 mana 3/3 construct with Defender, and when it enters the battlefield, target player mills 3 cards. But you can pay 3 to put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. That looks quite useful. If you have infinite mana, you can you can remove all the cards from their graveyard and put them into their library. And also Emperor with Decree of Annihilation. Did we do this one? Oh, I guess we didn't. This is a 10 mana sorcery. Remove all artifacts, creatures, lands, and graveyards and hands from the game. You can also cycle it for 7 mana, which is a lot of mana. Whenever you cycle Decree of Annihilation, you get to destroy all lands. So for 10 mana, well, we're gonna remove all graveyards from the game. We're gonna remove everything from the game. We're resetting the game somehow. This thing's legal in Commander. Upheaval's not. What a world. Yeah, we did World Fire. And that's it for today. Thank you very much. And also thank you everyone who's been showing up at 11 a.m. p.m. Central Standard Time. The new time from now on, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Spread the word. I'm probably going to leave a few notices. It's probably going to take a while for people to realize that the time has changed. But we are now 3 p.m. Central Standard Time starting on Monday. Thank you everyone for your support. I really appreciate it. Everyone who's a patron on Patreon, a member on YouTube, or use Super Chat to be part of the show, or Super Chat for other people to be part of the show. You screw up your card, I donate it to somebody. And of course, we have to thank everyone who shows up for Coffee and MTG. We like Jess, Oldboy, Christopher B. Or do we have another super chat here? Kagan used to showing up. Devious Cover Up at the last second. These last second cards. Devious Cover Up. Yeah, I'm surprised no one mentioned Time Twister. Like, that also removes the graveyard. Okay, Devious Cover Up. 4 mana instant. Counter target spell. If the spell is countered this way, exile instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. You may shuffle up to 4 target cards from your graveyard into your library. It's like, I don't know, does that count? Barely. It doesn't let the card hit the graveyard, I guess. Anyway, whoops. Thank you very much for being here. Who else were we thanking? We gotta thank everyone who's here today, like Almond, Abzo, Maddie, Markzilla, David, Dinglebag, someone to foresee, Toads, Christopher B, Steve Cooper, Mordrak, Cunning Linguist, Mr. Deadhead, Surefire Selves, Toads, True North A, Emperor, Toilet Duck, Benobsky, Kagan, because you guys are the show. So as usual, my coffee crew, you keep brewing up them coffees, even at 4 p.m., or sorry, 3 p.m., and we'll keep brewing up the coffee. And we'll keep brewing up bring up the magic, that's right. Keep watching the show, and I will see you next time.